At the risk of gaming sacrilege, I've always hated turn-based combat. But I think it might be because I've been playing it the wrong way. Because the moment I tried Baldur's Gate 3 with keyboard and mouse, pun definitely intended, it clicked. And not like, oh, this is slightly better than a controller clicked. I mean, it changed whether I can enjoy these games at all. So did keyboard and mouse gaming just unlock turn-based RPGs for me? And an entire catalog of incredible games? Since getting my first gaming PC and starting Friendly Xennial Gamer earlier this year, I've been documenting my adult gamer journey, and it's been a real joy learning new stuff and forcing myself to expand my horizons. And after hearing from viewers that I should be using keyboard and mouse more for my PC gaming, I did this whole experiment where I played first-person shooters exclusively with keyboard and mouse for about a month. And it was humbling at first, like truly humbling. But it worked, and by the time the month was up and I published a video documenting my journey, I had gotten comfortable and capable with a new control method, and had come to see the real value of keyboard and mouse for first-person shooters. But then instead of stopping there and going right back to comfort mode with my controller, I kept my foot on the gas, because I had realized something valuable. PC gaming isn't just better graphics, it's different ways to play. And that has really reinvigorated my gaming over the last few months. So I decided to extend my experiment into a type of gaming that I'd always had trouble with, and that's turn-based combat in RPGs. Now, to be clear, I love RPGs in general, like a lot. CRPGs, JRPGs, I mean, I'm pretty agnostic on the genre. I can get wrapped up in the Western fantasy worlds and player choice of CRPGs, and I can get wrapped up in the cinematic, often anime-inspired worlds of JRPGs. The distinction that's mattered for me has never been what genre of RPG it is. It's been the combat system. Action RPG, I'm full steam ahead. But if it's turn-based, it's been a problem for me to the point where I'm out. And I've never been able to fully peg why, but I know those controls aren't what I was raised on. Because I'm a console and arcade kid of the 80s and 90s. I grew up knowing if you hit the punch button, your character punches in real time. And if you land more blows than your foe, again in real time, then you win the battle. But turn-based is different. It slows things down, it gets analytical, and it gets more complex. And for me, at least, for a long time, it's just felt clunky. It actually takes me out of the story and out of the world of the game. And honestly, because of that, it's always just kind of felt like work. But I found myself wondering with how turn-based systems work with selection prompts and deep menus, could mouse and keyboard somehow actually help me get past my turn-based hang-up? So I decided I was going to give a turn-based RPG a fair shot for at least 2 weeks. And I was going to play it the way that PC players do. And so far, I've spent about 30 hours in Baldur's Gate 3 playing exclusively with mouse and keyboard. Now, this game is obviously a celebrated masterpiece, and like so many turn-based RPGs over the years, I had given it a shot on PlayStation when it first came out, just hoping that maybe the game would be good enough to get past my turn-based prejudice this time. But just like every time before, no dice. I put it down like 10 hours after buying it. I mean, I could tell that there was an incredible game under there, but the turn-based combat just distanced me. I couldn't get into it. But over the last 2 weeks of playing the game on my PC, even though mouse and keyboard still feel less familiar to me than a controller, I've been absolutely delighted to find that I am decidedly less frustrated with the pace, the complexity, and the whole turn-based approach. And in short order, it's become crystal clear. These games aren't just better with mouse and keyboard than with controller. They were very obviously designed for mouse and keyboard first, and then controllers got mapped to them later for console ports. There are just so many advantages to this control scheme that really make a difference. And the first thing I noticed was just how much more in calm control I was when it came to camera movement and party management. On controller, I've always felt like I was wrestling the camera in games like this. And I think it's because I've always struggled to divorce myself from the notion of guiding a player through their path through the world with a joystick. But as I settled in with keyboard and mouse, I realized that I can just smoothly look, zooming in and zooming out. I can pan, I can scan, I can reposition, I can understand what's happening and seek out opportunities in the world using keystrokes to reveal areas of interest. And most importantly, I don't feel overwhelmed by having to control a whole party of players when a battle gets triggered. It just feels natural to click from player to player and manage their turn. And that alone makes turn-based combat feel a lot less like a mix of chaos and waiting around. And it makes it feel more like directing the moment. And that's a feeling that I kept coming back to. Keyboard and mouse interaction made me feel like I was directing the story and directing the battles. And speaking of battles, another area where this control scheme has just made a world of difference is on menus and inventory. Because we all know turn-based RPGs are deep. Gear, spells, abilities, items, clothes, builds, choices, that's kind of the whole point. And with controller, menus in games like this on console often feel kind of like punishment. Like you're trying to do your taxes with a TV remote. But keyboard and mouse? Point, click, compare hit points, launch an attack. Suddenly the friction is just gone, and what's left is the fun. Deep player choice, customization, storytelling, and intricate world building. Keyboard and mouse were suddenly allowing those elements to finally take center stage for me. And as I got deeper into the game and its many systems, I found the biggest difference maker of all for me. And it's not just hotkeys, it's control flexibility. Because as more systems get introduced, you can bend the control system around how you want to play. You can assign mouse buttons to make camera movement easier. You can use number keys to select items and abilities. You can set up little habits that make your turn feel like a smooth rhythm. And once I had that rhythm, my turns stopped feeling slow or clunky at all. They just felt like choose your intent, execute cleanly with the shortcut or the hotkey you've assigned, and move on to the next character. And it's funny, I'm using the same Corsair keyboard and mouse that I grabbed during my first-person shooter experiment, and they're definitely getting the job done, but I finally understand the appeal of those mice with like 12 side buttons. They still seem totally overwhelming to me, but I get them now. Just like I get why reviews of these games always warn against the deficiencies of playing with a gamepad. But I'll tell you the moment that I knew it had really clicked for me. It wasn't a critical hit or a perfect turn, or even just feeling like I was more capably and smoothly in control. When I knew it had really clicked was when the humanity of the game was able to break through and really affect me. Lines of dialogue that made me laugh, choices that felt weighty and stakes that felt high, the feeling that I wasn't just controlling a character, I was responsible for a group of people and watching over their place in the world. The right control method had just gotten me out of my own way when it comes to turn-based combat, and had allowed me to forget my priors and just play. And just like my experience on mouse and keyboard for first-person shooters, this experiment ended up being kind of revelatory for me. Because at age 43, with more of my leisure time spent playing games than anything else, what a delight it is to discover a brand new gaming experience. Like, genuinely new. And I think for me now, looking back, the controller was just creating the wrong physical and mental expectation. My years of console gaming on controller were making me treat turn-based combat like an action game that just moves really slowly. But keyboard and mouse forced a different mindset completely. It made the analytical nature of turn-based feel more natural and more fun. And it made it feel like I was playing the game the way that it was meant to be played, so that the story could finally come forward. Now, to be clear, after just 2 weeks, it's not perfect and I'm not perfect at it. Controller is still definitely more relaxing for me, and I miss the tactile feel of my haptics all throughout these experiments. And couch play is still my home base. Desk posture just isn't always the most comfortable. And the effort of learning keyboard and mouse control is real. Dexterity, coordination, muscle memory, and sometimes, yeah, fatigue. But even with all that, I'm enjoying this more, like way more. And yeah, to be clear, I know that you definitely can hook up a keyboard and mouse to a PS5 or an Xbox Series console in certain situations. But let's be honest, for most console gamers, that's just not the default move. Console gaming is kind of built around the assumption that you pick up a controller and sit back on the couch. But PC gaming is different. Keyboard and mouse are there by default, and you generally at least start at a desktop. So if you're stepping into PC gaming for the first time like I am, this is one of those moments where you sort of quietly realize this platform isn't just more powerful, but it's built around and it opens up new control assumptions. And certain genres of games just benefit massively from that. And 2 control experiments deep on my PC journey, what have I found so far? Well, keyboard and mouse are definitely great for shooters because of their accuracy and aiming. And while they definitely offer a competitive advantage, I think I still prefer a controller for shooters though. But when it comes to keyboard and mouse for turn-based RPGs now, I definitively prefer that control method. It's unlocked the genre for me. And not because it's made me better at the game, but because it's allowed what's great about these games to begin with to shine through. And it's made me think about my role as the player differently, more like, again, a director. And if keyboard and mouse can do that for me across the board with turn-based combat, well, how awesome is that? Because then there's a lifetime of games that I can experience for the first time, free of my old judgment. So my backlog is about to get much worse, but I couldn't be happier about it. But the real reward isn't just unlocking a new catalog of games. It's the stretch. It's staying staying open to and working on new skills. Because we all have the genres and the styles and the vibes of gaming that we prefer, and of course we should spend as much of our hard-earned gaming time as possible doing the things that make us happy. But carving out at least a little sliver of time to try something new? I've found that it doesn't just make good experiments for videos, it kinda unlocks new pathways. And it's expanded my gaming horizons. And yeah, turn-based combat probably still won't ever be my favorite style of gaming, but I am definitely not avoiding it as a rule anymore. I'm embracing it, and I'm diving in headfirst with a whole new way to control a whole new slate of games at my disposal. So now I'm curious, if you've ever bounced off turn-based RPGs in the past, have you ever gone back and tried them with mouse and keyboard? And if a game finally converted you to the genre, what was it? Drop it in the comments. I would love to hear from folks who have struggled like I have, or from longtime fans of turn-based combat. Drop me a note and let's connect. Till next time, I'm Owen, the friendly Xennial gamer, and thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe for more videos weekly. Your support goes a long way in helping me build this young channel. Thanks for joining me.